Hello, welcome to Comic Beat Insider, the weekly streamcast podcast about movies, comics, TV, whatever Jimmy and I feel like talking about. And I always mess up with my other window. So hold on, I have to fix my other window.
Is that an echo?
It is
Echo?
an echo.
Echo that
Yes,
we hear here?
yes,
Here?
it
Here?
is. It is. Woo, you see? Uh-oh,
All good.
it is. No, now there we go. Okay. See, but I have to have the monitor. That one time I didn't have the monitor, it totally messed up. Okay, let's start again. Hi, I'm Heidi McDonald. Welcome to Comic Beat Insider, the weekly podcast streamcast about comics, movie, TV. That Jimmy Kino and I have been doing for
Yay.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year
One whole
of
year.
pandemic, quarantine, lockdown. I'm Heidi McDonald, the editor of Comics Beat at comicsbeat.com.
And I'm Jimmy Aquino, the host producer of the weekly podcast since 2005, Comic News Insider at comicnewsinsider.com, covering comics, TV, film, and pop culture.
And this week, since it's our 1 year anniversary, we've invited back a host of past guests, commentators to kind of look back on where we've been, what we've been doing, and talk
Our
about
panelists.
our esteemed panelists.
Yes.
So, starting Avery, you want to go first?
Hello, I'm Avery Kaplan. I'm the features editor at Comics Beat.
Alex?
Hi, my name is Alex Liu. I am a freelance editor at First Second, a writer, and the former managing editor / new media editor of The Beat.
That's right. And Emily?
Hey, it's Emily Edwards. I am known as the news person on Comic News Insider.
Yay.
Yay. Well,
also a teacher, choreographer, dancer, intimacy director, all these things she does. Yeah. Yeah. No, you officially are intimacy. Like you got your certificate for that, for intimacy director.
Wow.
That's a new thing in movies and TV now. They have to have an intimacy director.
Well, I think we should just have an interview with Emily because, so my photo background is actually 1 year ago today, April 2nd, 2020. And that's me walking through a deserted Grand Central Station. I was trying to do the I Am Legend because, they filmed the end of that movie there, which always freaks me out every time I see it. Because it's my neighborhood.
When you
see it as an apocalyptic wasteland in a movie, it's very upsetting. And then when you see it in real life, it's even more upsetting. So, but we made it this far.
Yeah.
Has anyone had COVID here in this group? We're gonna have more people joining us.
No, I had my second shot though the other day, so I'm stoked.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock wood. Yeah, right? We're close. Short timers. I'm retiring next week. We got that letter, so
So as Heidi said, yeah, exactly. As Heidi said, this is our year anniversary, our 51st episode. We skipped 1 week during Christmas, and but the reason why did we start this thing? How did it start? So I put out for as much as I watch TV and film, and I watch a lot, there's a billion things you guys have never seen that I've seen. There's also a lot of things I should have seen that I haven't seen. People are like, what? You haven't seen that? I'm like, well, haven't seen these 10 obscure films I've seen? No, you haven't. So there. But I'd never seen the Evil Dead trilogy. And I remember I bought the DVDs 15 years ago to make myself watch them and never did. So I was like, well, lockdown, I've got a bunch of DVDs and some streaming. Should I watch them? So I did. And Heidi was like, we should podcast about this. So we just thought like, well, we'll podcast for my podcast. Maybe we'll put it on her YouTube. We'll see. But then our pal John Host joined us and we were like, we should do this every week and talk about comics and TV and film and just whatever we want. It'd be kind of fun. I mean, something to do since we're all home doing nothing. And I was like, all right, sure, let's do it. So that's how it all started. And of course, Heidi has the site The Beat. My podcast is Comic News Insider. And she had the brilliant idea, let's mash those, make a portmanteau kind of out of those, and became Comic Beat Insider. So there we go. The origin has been revealed.
The secret origin. And I mean, it is, obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about our lives during the past year. But, Zoom was something I'd never done before. Maybe once before, right?
Right.
Who was a regular Zoomer before COVID?
Dude, I was
Oh no, Jimmy's got his internet problems this week. His Wi-Fi is acting up against him, so he keeps freezing up. So we might have to have a change. But Yeah, I had not Zoomed, and we did it, me and John and Jimmy, and John is very busy now, so he was our regular co-host during the early days, the secret or the nostalgic early days, and unfortunately he's not able to join us today, but he is with us in spirit, of course. But yeah, we had
I feel like if anyone would have been a regular Zoomer before the pandemic, it would have been you, Heidi, since your work is so reliant on travel and being just around in different places.
Well, Alex, that's an interesting point, because before this, you would have a phone call, right? And it's
Sorry, what?
a phone, that phone.
Don't know what you're talking about.
The Amici.
Yeah.
So
and real quick, apologies. You saw me just freeze there. This happened all last week.
Yeah.
I don't know what the issue is. Hopefully, if it keeps happening, I'm going to switch to my iPad, but I'm going to see how we do over the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But anyway,
we'll
go ahead.
pray for technology to hold up. But yeah, I would do a phone call. And I guess it's only in this enforced isolation that we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to see people?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see faces. It was nice. So that was something that became every week. We're like, oh, this is something we look forward to, because it's like I can actually see a friend's face and talk to them.
Yeah.
Which is really great.
I said this when I invited you guys to be on, but this has definitely been a highlight of my pandemic life. Like on Fridays, getting to talk to really smart, wonderful people and have a fun conversation about things we love.
And me. So,
and Jimmy. And Jimmy. And to talk to Jimmy. Well, Jimmy, we'll save the tearful, confessions for the end, I guess. But, yeah, it's been great to talk to you every week too, believe it or not.
I don't believe it, but all right, fine.
So wait, let me go back to the Zoom thing, because I think that's really interesting. I mean, does anyone enjoy Zooming?
I don't have an issue with it, but I'm also don't do it as much. I do it maybe twice, definitely obviously once a week but maybe twice when I do interviews or any special shows. So there's some weeks where I do like 4 or 5. And I know friends that are like have Zoom fatigue because they have to do it every day for their job. And it's just, I get it. It's probably like, oh God, got to sign on again. But yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because my new job is sort of a Zoom moderator for big corporate events. So I'm on Zoom all the time. And so it's like a mix of things, because sometimes I'm like, I just take so much energy to do that all the time. But also, like, I'm meeting all these coworkers from across the world, literally. Yeah. And I think that's really, really cool. And like, I've been able to talk to some of my friends who live in like New Zealand or in Hong Kong, and I haven't seen their faces
or New York City.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just, it has allowed to the world to become a little smaller, I feel like, which is great.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. How about Alex? Do you you're an editor. Do you have Zoom conferences or?
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy Zooming relative to commuting. But I have a particular hatred for like leaving my bed. So, like that's just me. Nice. But I do miss people. Like I don't enjoy it relative to people. I do enjoy it relative to being on the subway.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah, I have to, because I went back to work in July because I work in the restaurant business, and it's just like, yeah, I was back, and yeah, being on the subway isn't fun.
Yeah. Avery, how about you?
So I never really Zoomed before. I got this ring light when I came on for the Star Wars Christmas special, which was, or holiday special, excuse me, Life Day, not Christmas. How dare I? And I do enjoy it, and I've had a lot of luck with interviews with creators. I find that I can kind of get a little deeper with interviews than I can certainly than email, but even than phone. But it drains me. Like it after I Zoom, I'm gonna go to the Animal Crossing cave for an hour or whatever.
That's great. Nice escape. Yeah. Mine's Rocket League, but yeah.
Yeah, mine's Marvel Strike Force, but that's ending soon.
The principle is the same.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
They say, I mean, Zoom fatigue is a real thing, and that if for some reason it is more exhausting than like just talking on the phone. And I don't know, what the psychology of it is. But I mean, like Emily was saying, I mean, I've done so many comics events, like panels and stuff with people who you'd never have in the room together. So
yeah. So that's what I liked about it too, is like what Avery was saying doing interviews is like, while my podcast is just audio, it's nice to see their faces and you can get a better reaction, and sort of like as you're talking, it's almost like you're in person. Because a phone interview, you often interrupt each other too much, you don't, because you're waiting for the person or whatever. But at least you can see like if they're waiting to jump in or something, or you're something like that. It makes it a lot easier, and it makes it more conversational, I think, and more laid back, like you're just chilling in a room hanging out. So I enjoy that aspect of it. So yeah.
I probably have said this on here or to all of you at some point. Well, not Emily, because I don't know if I've met Emily in person, but I have. Okay, yes, we have.
Events, my birthday parties,
yes,
my
your
tables,
birthday
yes,
party, but
absolutely.
we probably didn't have this conversation. I'll say that. That there is no substitute, and that's true for interviews. It's really good, but there is no substitute for in person, because it's like so much more of the smells, the sights, the sounds, the feelings, what's going on around you. It just, that's
having
how
a drink while you're interviewing
having
somebody,
a drink,
or
but it's just
eating,
how
whatever.
it has made me realize that is how human beings are meant to communicate. And I do think a lot of our online flame wars and all of that is just because our senses aren't meant to communicate in this way. We're meant to even, like I joke about smells, but we sense pheromones, we sense all these things about people and their movements that makes us judge things very differently. So
we're meant to be afraid of upsetting other people.
yeah. A good way to put it, Alex. Yeah.
Nice. That's right. We
yeah. But what I find is because it's like when it first happened, I was like, when the lockdown happened, I was like, I hate people anyway. I got this. It's fine. But then I was like, oh man, I miss my friends and miss seeing them, going out to dinner and get some Korean barbecue and having them over where I could cook for them every week. That's what I did. Anytime I had someone over to podcast for, I'll cook for them, and most of them, besides Emily, would really appreciate it.
Oh, Emily.
It was. They were fine meals.
They were fine. I would spend hours in the kitchen, spend hundreds of dollars. Like, that's fine. It's fine. That's a $70 ribeye I've been curating for a month. Yeah, it's all right.
Emily, are you a vegetarian? Because
no.
I am not. No.
Well, what she did one time, because she's so freaking nice, I made this amazing mac and cheese. It took me hours to do it, all the stuff that I'm getting. She was barely telling me, are you going to try my mac and cheese? And we're old friends, so, we bust each other's balls. So, yeah, that's right. And then it wasn't until literally after she goes, I'm kind of lactose intolerant. Why didn't you tell me? I wouldn't have made mac and cheese. I'm like, that's why I always ask, give me your food restrictions and I'll cook around you. It's fine. But she's too freaking nice. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, man.
Suffered through it and probably paid for it later. I was like, oh, I am so sorry.
Yeah. No,
well,
I've had Jimmy's cooking,
of course.
And I'll say this, if you're ever invited to Jimmy's house for dinner, do it. It's good.
It's only $100 a visit. I'm just kidding.
He loves to cook. I'll put it that way. So
I mean, $100 for a chef's table experience. Good.
Not bad, right? Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Is there like an online?
You should have Alex over some, because Alex, you're a
for dinner. We'll do
total foodie.
Whatever, it's fine.
Alex is such a foodie. He would appreciate, because Alex, how is your interest in, because your Instagram is nothing but photos of amazing meals.
Nice.
It's true. I mean, like I love my food, and it has been very disheartening to not have been able to leave my neighborhood for it. And like, as much as I love my neighborhood, it's not like the East Village. It's not the hotspot.
What neighborhood are you in?
I'm on the Upper East Side right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And there are like
there are some good spots. Places. Yeah, Upper East Side.
There's like a great Italian place. Like there's a great like Thai place. Like there's some really good things. But I've been here for a year now, and I would like to go to K-Town. I would like to have barbecue again.
Right. Yeah, I've had some recently since I was like, okay, I got my shots. And I'm like, okay, I would go in and I go to a place that's really quiet, not very busy. So I've had it a couple of times. It's just magnificent.
Yeah, that's one thing. My neighborhood is kind of a hot spot, like 3rd Avenue between 23rd and 34th. There's whole blocks that are literally nothing but the shacks now. And I mean, it's hopping. I mean, and it's open like as late as they'll let it go. And I've seen some things go on inside, maybe that, but I'm super glad that's happened, because there's other places I go in the city that still look like my background that are, after 5 o'clock. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Avery, how's your food consumption changed? And
Well, so I'm the main cook in our household.
Nice.
So I gotten very, like I like cooking. I love cooking, but pandemic kind of shifted that from like, having a meal or two out a week to only cooking, which definitely had a toll on me after a while. Yeah. But I am excited now that we can, because there was the month or two in there where you couldn't get all the ingredients. And that was a nightmare. I couldn't get flour for a while, and that was awful.
Yeah, remember those bleak early days of like
1
no
year
toilet
ago,
paper?
We fought over toilet paper. We fought over surface wipes.
Yeah, I remember leaving Dwayne Reed one time with the last giant thing of like Charmin toilet paper. It was the last one, like randomly there, and holding it like this on the way home because they didn't have bags. They weren't giving out bags at the time. Just afraid someone's literally going to jump me for toilet paper. I'm on my 2-block walk home. I was like, nobody take my toilet paper, please. But yeah, but there were a few. I was pretty. Because I cook all the time. My cupboard's always stocked, so I wasn't too bad with grocery wise in the beginning because I already had such a packed cupboard because I cook pretty much every day, or I used to at least. But yeah,
there was one day early on where I only got toilet paper by the grace of knowing a Dwayne Reed employee who liked me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Alex, I guess I'll tell some tales out of school, but I remember one time you told me you had a secret hand sanitizer source.
Yeah. I mean, that ended up not being as relevant as I thought it would be, just because hand sanitizer wasn't actually all that useful.
Yeah, you weren't going out, so yeah.
But like I do have like the 2 like large bottles. I mean, they're not enormous, but like they're like the yay size bottles, and those were apparently very hard to find initially.
They were. Yeah. So without going into too many details, I'll say the best purchase I made in the pandemic was my $39 bidet.
Nice.
And if it could somehow be converted into a cat drinking fountain, it would be the greatest thing.
I'm sure it has somewhere in the world.
Well, I'm sure they can. Mine does not do that, but the cats sometimes drink out of the toilet. If they could have running water, it would really solve all my problems. So highly recommend it.
Have you considered upgrading to the Toto bidet?
Oh, what does that do, Alex?
It's like the full Japanese like toilet seat.
Yeah.
That like it rises up as you come to it. It's beautiful. My partner and I have been eyeing it for the last like 6 months.
So I'm not going into too many details, but I have tried those in Japanese restaurants, and it is the full experience. So I honestly highly recommend it. The rest of the world is super into bidets. It's just Americans don't like to deal with that, so but you got to enjoy the go. So that's the most important part.
We have so much luxury in every factor of our lives in this country except the bathroom, and that's disappointing.
So our podcast about toilets is
well, we'd probably get more views if it was the toilet view. But so what have we learned, guys? What have we learned?
I better more than what have we learned. What were you doing? Like, what were your hobbies? Besides, what were you watching?
Yeah, what got you through it? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, what I watch so much and read so much. Weirdly, my reading comics sort of, well, also there's a point they weren't coming out, but my reading comics sort of dropped, and my TV and streaming viewing just increased. So I was watching full-on series like I did anyway, but just in movies and all sorts of things. I even started keeping a list of what I've been watching since last year's of a giant, which I'm not going to share because it's just way too long. But got into things the things I'd never seen before. Like I'd never seen any Studio Ghibli films, and HBO Max has them all. And I'm down to I have 6 left because I'm watching them in order. So I think my next one's gonna be Ponyo. But I just watched a ton of them, and it's it's great. So, what did you guys watch or read that got you through? Anyone?
I mean, I went back to my did a sort of a split thing. I've been watching a whole bunch of new material and stuff I'd never seen before, and I went back to my comfort favorites.
Yeah, I know a lot of people did that. I didn't really do that.
Yeah. So it's kind of a mix of the both. So I found some really great new things that I was like, oh, this is amazing. There's the End of the World on Netflix was really great. Like this British one that was really fun.
That's based on a graphic novel. The end of the
End of the fucking world. Yeah.
End of the fucking world. Yeah.
End of the fucking world. Yeah, that was great. And that was I watched towards the beginning of the pandemic when I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. This is so like, feels so good to watch this because they don't know what's going to happen right now.
Right.
So like watching stuff like that. But then I've also been watching like my go-to NBC comedies like 30 Rock, Community, Parks and Rec. You know, I've been watching all those, doing a rewatch of pretty much all of them.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's just comfortable.
Comfort,
and
yeah.
I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Emily, did you watch the Community Zoom?
I did not. I heard about it. Was it amazing?
Yeah, it's the episode where they read Pierce's last will and testament.
It's great.
And
it's
then Pedro Pascal came in to do Walter Goggins' part. So
nice.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Who do they have playing Pierce?
It's his last will and testament, so he's dead.
Oh,
so
right.
it's his reading.
Yeah.
Which I think was an intentional choice by Harmon.
Of course, yeah. They had that little friction, of course. Yeah.
Season the gas leaks. Anyway, so I went back to some favorites. You can track my reading in detail at Weekend Reading at the Beat. But I started off with some classics, went back into Saga and Squirrel Girl, which was comforting. Then I really loved Crisis Zone by Simon Hanselman on Instagram. So I revisited all the Megan Mogg books as well. And then Snapdragon is one that I hadn't read. I think it came out last year. A graphic novel that was really good.
Oh, nice. I want to check that out. I never did. Oh, cool.
So those were, and then as far as prose goes, I reread The Stand for covering it for the adaptation. Yeah, and weirdly appropriate for the time period.
Right.
I will say what struck me most out of The Stand that reminded me of the COVID-19 pandemic was there's a chapter that is about the second pandemic, which is basically it's people who died not from Captain Trips, but from the circumstances around Captain Trips. And it noted that the rates of death were much higher in the United States than elsewhere in the world. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, that just really struck me as super prescient.
I wonder why that is.
But as far as escapism goes, I got really into Octavia Butler, who I had read some of before, but I really got deep into her. And I didn't realize in some of the interviews in the back of the book, she talks about how Marvel Comics were a huge inspiration to her. So I thought that was really interesting to see that sort of. And then I think I mentioned this is my last one in my stack here, is The Living Dead, which came out last July and was excellent.
Excellent.
Wow.
Very
Avery, you kind of won the pandemic there, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I've like a legitimate show and tell. You had all the prepped and everything.
Great.
Such good things, relevant. I was thinking of rereading The Stand, but I didn't reread anything. I barely read a book at all. So
I read a couple. I read a few. Like I remember when we did like a comic graphic novel special in the very early beginning. I reread like Persepolis and a few other ones. So yeah, it was really great.
Well, I guess all the things that we said we were going to do. I'm going to have millions of hours to do all these things, didn't happen because time expands to fill.
I learned 7 languages. What are you talking about?
Very good. But, Alex, I remember you were one of our early guests because right after we started Comic Beat Insider, there was the comic book distribution crisis. And, I do look at those episodes. I think it was you and Joe and Jimmy and I just, fretting over the fate of the comic book and all that. And, I was so busy doing the news that I kind of just fell into the news. But yeah, what's been keeping you sane? What's your guilty or, non-guilty pleasures?
I have been all over the place, I think. Like I started off the year reading Emily St. John Mandel's novel, The Glass Hotel, which is like the book that follows Station 11, which was like a weirdly relevant book to the early pandemic. It was all about like a traveling Shakespeare troupe performing plays like in the wake of a pandemic ravaged world to the survivors who were left. Lovely book, beautiful writing. I had to read the sequel, or it's not a sequel, it's her next book. Anyways, after that, I got kind of consumed by writing my own book, and
nice.
I had some like health stuff, so the middle of the year was kind of weird. But towards the end of it, I got really into reading like a lot of like RHG's initial slate. The Magic Fish, beautiful book. Donut Feed the Squirrels, a delightful tale about 2 little animals trying to rob a donut truck.
That's so good.
And then I was watching a lot of my like old favorite movies. like I guess it's not that old. Widows, Baby Driver, lots of heist stuff. And I got back into video games in a big way that I haven't since college. There's been like a big like shortage on video cards for computers because crypto miners have been buying it up to make Bitcoin and stuff like that. But I happened to buy a computer the year before the pandemic, so I was like ready to like go back into my backlog of stuff that I had bought up for like years and years and years and never played because I was busy doing other stuff in life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you all know, my only hobbies are wrestling, Pokemon Go, and baseball when it's available. I mean, but I mean, that's literally the things for how my brain works. That's what I like watching. And, but I recently realized that I needed other things to do. I had to start watching some of these other TV shows so I could be relevant. And, so I actually just started watching Schitt's Creek, which is great, of course. But I mean, I've never seen any of these sitcoms that you guys love because that's just,
I've spent the last like couple of weeks bursting through Kim's Convenience. It's an amazing show.
It's on my queue forever.
I watched that this last summer. I watched it.
It's hilarious.
I've been wanting to watch that. Good. Yeah, it's on my queue forever. Yeah, gotta check it out.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it has Simu Liu in it. He's going to be our
Shang-Chi.
Yep. And he's also gorgeous in this. But I mean, just in general, like I'm really disappointed that they're ending it prematurely. Apparently,
yeah, I just saw that news and I was like, oh man, I was just about to get into it.
Yeah, why are they ending it? Do we know?
I have no idea. Like, I think it's been big on Netflix for a couple of years.
Yeah, they probably want to give the money to some white show. Who knows? God, it's like Jesus.
Well, their timing could be better, but yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So I will say the one thing, and of course, you become nostalgic even for horrible things in your life, and those eerie. Like I say, the first 3 months of this were just eerie, for me, because everything was closed. Restaurants, you could order out, but you couldn't eat it, and I tried to order out at least once a week just to try to keep, to support the businesses because, so many things are closing. But I do remember, baseball. I love watching baseball. I love watching the Mets and listening to their announcers, Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling. And, there was no baseball for months and months. And so they would just replay all these old Mets classics. And I got to rewatch the entire Mets 1986 playoff run through the famous World Series.
The Miracle Mets, yeah.
The Miracle Mets. Well, no, those are the 69 Mets. No.
Oh, sorry.
These were the Coke Mets.
How much I know baseball.
The Coke Mets. But, I got to watch it. And, look, I'll just say, Keith Hernandez is my, future ex-husband always and forever. And getting to watch Keith in his prime was like, but I was also just weird, sitting alone in my apartment watching baseball games from 1986.
That's not weird. It's
and drinking lots of wine. Oh, MVP wine. Hello.
It's so funny. I didn't really I've never been a drinker at home much, and I still aren't. And I thought like, oh, am I going to start drinking more during it? And on occasion I get a little wine with dinner. But I just never been like a big drinker. But I get people that did. They're like, well, I'm at home doing nothing. Why not?
I mean, like, I think the early pandemic especially is very much about like whatever gets you through.
Yeah. I mean, I'm wasted right now, but that's a different story. But for me, like I said, I mostly was watching a ton of stuff. And some of the, just random things here and there I'd see I really like there's that great Korean zombie film, #Alive, that came out last year. It's awesome if you haven't seen it. And even I caught up on things from like maybe recent year or two that I'd never seen, some superhero stuff or other things. There's that film Psychokinesis from the director, the same guy that directed Train to Busan. As I said, I did my Studio Ghibli watch. They started having new Adventure Time specials. What was really, really cute and fun? I really discovered that Selena and Chef series on HBO. It's her. She's not a cook at all, but it's her in her kitchen. Of course, she has a giant mansion, like this big, huge kitchen, and famous chefs on Zoom teaching her how to cook a meal. And she doesn't always succeed that well. So it's really sort of adorable and fun to watch. And she's, cute as hell. And it's also, you get these great recipes from these famous chefs. And of course I cook, so I love stuff like that. Lovecraft Country was great. A couple of new things I really like. Resident Alien, that new show on Sci-Fi, is awesome. It just ended. The Snowpiercer TV show. Very recent new films, Raya and the Last Dragon, Minari, of course, are incredible. But yeah, I found myself watching, as a lot of you know, I fell into K-pop a couple years ago. And through that, I fell into watching more Korean like variety shows and TV shows. And they are so great. I'm telling you, there are some great Korean variety shows because they are. There's two very famous ones, Running Man, and then Knowing Brothers is on Netflix. Actually, you can watch it. And it's just these group of hosts, and they bring on either K-pop stars or famous actors. Even like some American actors have done past episodes of Running Man and things like that. And they just play games with them and hang out. It's like think of those little games that Jimmy Fallon or Corden does for 5 minutes. They do that for an hour and a half. So must be a great experience as an entertainer. Like I'm just going on to have fun for an hour and a half. I get to play, and I highly recommend a bunch of those. And there's been some great, great music coming out. Of course, through K-pop, I watch, watching through that, watching their reaction and how Asia in general handled the pandemic so much better than we did, and watching them be able to like. Speaking of baseball, I know a lot of people turned to Korean baseball during this because they were actually able to play again a lot earlier than we were, and I even started watching some of it, and then they were able to do shows with social distancing and all this other stuff. So that was kind of fun to like be able to still watch entertainment.
Yeah.
happen,
Well, that's I've said this, but that's why I was attracted to wrestling because I don't know, the way my mind works is I just like things that are immediate and happening. I guess that's why I write about news. It's just like I like it to be something that's happening, even if it's sports entertainment. So and wrestling was the only thing going on that was live for a long time.
Probably the dumbest sport to keep going on for a while
Dumbest
because
one,
such human contact and sweating and
right,
bleeding all over each other. But
they
all right,
keep
sure.
having COVID. Some
Like,
kind of Florida man thing. They keep having
I'm from
COVID.
Florida. That's why I left. So.
Yeah. So
one of the things I will say though is that like I'm surprised at how well some industries have adapted to creating like pseudo live events. Like I had been attending some digital comedy shows, and one of the things I really loved about some of the later ones was the way in which they actually encouraged you to turn on your microphone, but drop your input to like 30% or so. That way, comedians could get your feedback, hear what was working, what wasn't, and you could still feel like you were participating. And for my birthday, my partner got me an escape room digitally.
Oh.
So me and a couple friends were in like this like digital chat platform, like a Zoom kind of thing. And we had a live person in the actual escape room walking around. We could navigate like a digital Google map of the room, tell her what to look at, what to pick up, and she would narrate and pick things up for us. It was like, in a weird way, more immersive than the actual escape room because she was actually in character as opposed to like 10 people running around this room.
Nice.
Like,
that sounds fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I saw a bunch of those. Like I know a lot of the British radio shows are still doing even TV shows where they have TV shows where you see they'll play in a lot of the Korean shows as well. And a lot of the K-pop groups have concerts where they play in the background. You see a screen of faces, and it's all their fans watching, and they would turn the sound on and off so you can hear them applaud and say, or during the panel shows you can hear them respond. So it does make it feel like there's an audience there in person, which I think is a really cool idea. The way they're doing that, I'm like, right on, very cool.
Well, it definitely, all of this has definitely shown us what we can imagine, and where our imagination takes us with some of these virtual events that we have, and it's pretty interesting. That sounds really great though, Alex. We have two more of our panelists. I'm gonna let them into the room.
Yeah.
We're going to be joined here, and I did this in shifts so we wouldn't have like 8,000 people at once, but maybe you guys stick around as much as you
all right.
like.
Carrie doesn't talk much at all.
Yeah.
Hey, Carrie. I mean, I didn't see you there.
Hi.
Carrie, my ex-wife Carrie, and what's up? Hey, boo, what's up?
Kids are good. Thanks for the check.
Oh, no problem. I mean, got to keep them fed somehow. Whatever. No, you're not doing anything. So.
Hey, Joe.
Jimmy, your kids don't get complimentary $100 chef's table?
Well, when the pandemic's over, we'll see.
Yeah. So we're joined by two more of our past panelists, Carrie and Joe. If you want, Carrie, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are.
Well, as Jimmy is my second husband, and I'm a friend, I'm a fan, and I like bacon.
Nice.
And Joe.
I'm Joe. I'm the managing editor for Comics Beat.
Yes.
I also like bacon.
Nice.
Yeah. So if anyone does not like bacon, please raise your hand and get off the freaking chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Please leave.
This is not a veggie haters, all right, but still, yes.
Yeah.
Bacon,
So
bacon
for
rules.
your newcomers, just real quick, my background is 1 year ago today when I was wandering through a completely deserted, Grand Central Station, Park Avenue, and so look how far we've come. We know how to Zoom.
So what were you guys doing, Carrie and Joe, the past year? We were talking about what you've been watching, what you've been reading. Tell us some of the things that sort of got you through, Carrie.
Other than you, and
I know our daily chats. I know.
No, I do have to say. So I have immersed, and that's a strong word. Dipped my toe into the world of podcasts.
Nice.
As not only as a guest, because I've been a guest on a couple here, and as well as in my real professional life. But I've actually started really consuming them and listening to them a little bit. So that, and other than that, really, I'm not I didn't get into crafting or felting, which seemed to be really popular. I did not make a sourdough starter thing. Yeah, I don't, but what we did, which is really different, what I've heard is that in the past 12 months, we've made Thanksgiving dinner 8 times.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
Well done.
We just decided that really early in the pandemic, like in March of last year, we were like, let's dig into gratitude, when everything's just a total shit show and you're like, what am I thankful for? So we're like, let's dig in and we'll have Thanksgiving. And then we decided you know what? We really like Thanksgiving. We're really good at making Thanksgiving. Let's make it a lot. Awesome. So we've done it a lot.
That's awesome. Emily, I know you got to bounce. So but thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for
Emily, please don't go. We will miss you.
Yeah. Come back.
We will miss you so much.
We got to have you back on. You haven't been on in a while.
Yeah, thanks, Emily.
I know. But yeah, definitely. It's always fun. It's always fun to talk with y'all. And I'll be back soon.
Excellent. Awesome.
All right. Stay
Thanks,
safe.
Emily.
Stay safe.
Bye.
And we've also been joined by Ricky.
Hey, Ricky, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, man, you want to just introduce yourself here?
Well, as you all know, Ricky, and I write for Comics Beat, and I am a teacher. So this whole setting with the Zooms is my actual home now. I never leave.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Nice. So yeah, Joe, what got you through?
I have really gotten into trash reality television. So
so many of my friends have.
We watched, Top Chef is not trash. Top Chef is fantastic. We watched a lot of that at the beginning. And then we moved on to Big Brother, which we watched all 22 seasons of Big Brother. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
And now we're working our way through Survivor, which is 40 seasons. We're I think 10 seasons in on that one. So
wow, how does that hold up though?
Wow.
How is it watching it again?
Some of it, it's interesting to see how the formatting has changed, on one hand, but also just sort of the culture has changed as it's reflected in the show. Like there's a lot more casual racism in the early seasons of Big Brother.
I was gonna say, I feel like there was a lot of stuff that we didn't read as we would now.
Yeah, a lot of casual racism, a lot of casual homophobia in those earlier seasons of shows that as it goes on, the show becomes a little bit, or at least Big Brother for sure, because we're not that far in Survivor, but it became much more willing to address stuff like that on the show. So I appreciated seeing that evolution of it as it went. Didn't make the earlier stuff any less cringe, but it's nice to see a little bit of progress.
It's
At
funny
what point are you integrating The Bachelor?
We haven't had that discussion yet. We'll see. We got 30 seasons of Survivor to go, so maybe after that.
When Survivor came on, I was working at DC Comics, and we were obsessed with Survivor. We were so obsessed with it. And I mean, it really was water cooler talk, and, it was so groundbreaking. And because it was the first of these reality shows. And I remembered from the first season, like, Mike Carlin, who was my boss, was like with the biggest fans. And, he was always like, if there was a celebrity who wanted to come toward DC Comics, they'd come with Mike. And he brought like a couple of the cast members for the first season because they were comics fans.
Nice.
And like they came in and, but they were also, it was just, wrestlers. There's so many wrestlers in the guys, it's like Jerry Lawler coming by, Hurricane. That's how I met Hurricane, Raven, and anyway, I said a long time ago.
I think I only watched the first couple seasons of Survivor, and my only memory of it was having a former coworker of Carrie's came over for dinner and we watched the finale together. And let's just say I did not vote her off the island. But that's why I only like, oh yeah, that girl came over and we watched the finale. Okay, yeah. But I really don't remember much of it. It was like
Heidi, your face there was spectacular.
The post show was much better than the show. So.
Well, I'll say the first season of Survivor was the guy who was a creep one, Richard Hatch. And it was like, I mean, the next day it was like a national day of mourning because, I forget who was I actually forget who was the opposite, but it was like this pure person, and Richard was so scheming and lying and deceiving. And I was just like, how could you let Richard win? You all knew he was creepy. And that was the beginning of America's loss of innocence. It's when Richard Hatch won Survivor.
Richard Hatch is the beginning.
Yep.
Heidi,
how it started.
Heidi, this is a hard left, but I have a question. Do you understand how New York Comic Con is going to work this year?
Oh, well, we could talk about that. Yeah. No, I think they just floated that idea. So so in case you haven't seen it, it wasn't like they put out a press release. It was just like, oh, here's a story totally slagging on San Diego's idea of putting on a con on Thanksgiving, and New York Comic Con. Oh, by the way, we're doing an in-person event. It wasn't a hard announce. It was a very soft, let's just see how this idea goes, and we'll see.
It's
not actually like them saying we have the Javis booked. It's just like a trial.
Well, they have it booked. They absolutely have it booked. I mean, they have, for sure they have those dates because they would have to. But I'll say, I feel like San Diego was like, oh well, we couldn't get any other dates. It's like maybe. I feel like, Reed Pop was like 6 months ago. It's like, yep, our first con's going to be C2E2 on December 6th. Like they had to go in and they had to go book these dates ahead of time. Also, undoubtedly because of their cancellation and postponements and insurance, all that stuff. So I don't know. I think there will be, honestly. I think by October, we will be able to do some things in person. But
I believe it. I just don't like, what is the infrastructure, like, are we going to have like the same sort of ticket sale process that we did before?
Oh no. I mean, it's going to be limited. Let's look at baseball, like they can only have 20% capacity. And, from my standpoint, sitting outside in a wide open air stadium is probably, with one person in your pod, it's probably about the safest thing you could do aside from just sitting in your house. So, but they have 20%. You have to be vaccinated or have a negative test. And I'm sure for New York Comic Con by then, but you guys, can we predict where we'll be in October?
No.
I mean, no.
Well, I mean, there's already cons happening. There were cons happening throughout, of course, mostly in the South. And it's like, and there's still some, like, I still can't believe Heroes Con's going to happen, but all right, in June. But then like Thought Bubble in November, like I don't see myself traveling at all this year, but if it were, it'd be near the end of the year. And the Anglophile that I am, I would love to go to Thought Bubble. So that's a 10% chance. Maybe I'd even think about that. But again, we have to see where we are then, and like how things are.
Can we speculate about anyone going to San Diego in November?
Well, that's the thing. That was so wildly misreported, I think, because every outlet was like, Comic-Con moved to November. No, it's just a home. It's like a smaller. It's not Comic-Con. It's their sort of like home edition thing or whatever like that, like a local show, basically. Yeah.
Is anybody gonna go to that place.
Also, it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah, no, like I'm not
Avery,
paying
would you go?
Thanksgiving prices
Well,
for that.
Avery, you're local. I mean, it's like, an hour and a half away, right?
Yeah, I'll
what do
consider it long as I'm full, which I expect to be vaccinated well before that. And as long as we don't have COVID-21, I'll consider it. It's like a 2-hour train ride, you know?
Yeah, if it's like a local show, I get it. Yeah, great, it's a local show, but they both misrepresented themselves and also got reported wrong as well. Like they definitely tried to appeal to like, this is gonna be a kind of a Comic-Con. They didn't outright say it. Then they had to come explain, no, what we mean is this. And it's like, you know what you were trying to do. And but yeah, so I don't think it's gonna be seen as a big Comic-Con. I don't think a lot of people are gonna try to travel to it at all. So
I wouldn't mind going to C2E2 on December.
That's another. Yeah, I saw that. It's like this. It's like the week of my birthday. Yeah.
So I've been talking with my other podcast, compadres, Bridget, Johanna, and Deb, and we pretty much have decided that if we're all vaxxed up and it looks safe, we're going to go to C2E2.
Nice. I've never been actually.
Because it also, I'll just say this: McCormick Place is huge ceilings.
Yep.
It's drafty as fuck. You know, it is well ventilated. And it's not like the Javits. I mean, the Javits is contagion, you know? I mean, it's like you get there sick in pre-COVID times. So I would, I mean, it's a horrible facility in terms of health. And whereas McCormick Place, I feel,
But how are they going to regulate, like if they're still regulating lines and like spacing, and are tables going to be as close? Probably not.
Well,
like,
they've had a long time to think about this.
Like people like not gathering around a certain thing, because people are selfish. They don't give a shit. Like just the subway alone we were talking about, like people don't care. People are sitting, I can't believe when I see people just sit down next to someone. I'm like, well, stand up. Don't be an asshole. It's like,
I'm pretty sure you're going to have your card, you're going to have your card.
Well, no, sure. But still, you have everyone vaccinated. People are still going to like, oh, the hot thing is in this booth. Let's all run there. Like it happens at Comic-Cons, what I mean?
This is really like one of the things that I ponder a lot. It's like, human beings are walking germ machines. Well, yeah. And in the olden days, we negotiated crowds, I mean, I'm not a germaphobe. Pretty obviously, I'm not a germaphobe. And knock wood, I don't get sick that much. I always get sick at New York Comic-Con. It says a lot about New York Comic-Con. I mean, how do we get conflict, yeah, but I mean, how, I mean, I think you're right. I think that's just one thing for those of us who are mindful and caring and, mindful of other human beings, that, crowding around and that kind of behavior is, are we going to do that again?
That's the thing. If you want to see something, or you want something, you're going to run to it, and you're not going to care of people around you, even if you're like, well, fuck, I want this too. I want to be cautious, but these assholes don't care either. So why should I? And you're going to run to it,
Now's the time for these conventions to come up with a very good plan for future conventions in terms of dealing with lines. Because New York Comic-Con always had this very stupid problem, which is that lines for Tom King or Bendis or whatever snaked and basically covered other tables in the process.
Yes.
So they still have to come up with a better system to get lines, not crowd over other tables, and make everything, walkable at the same time. So I think maybe this could be a good year for trial runs, smaller conventions, and then they could figure out the logistics of how you can space things out, because the McCormick Place has enough space to maybe with a fewer booths and not that many to space things out enough for people to watch.
McCormick Place is one of the world's largest buildings, so literally, so you can spreading out so far.
Yeah. I hope so.
I see Carrie's in our middle square here, and she's the one person who doesn't go to cons, so she's like just
But she goes to conferences.
I go to I go to a gazillion conferences, and what I was going to say was, and just a shout out to my own company, who just got named the preferred speaker training partner for Meeting Planners International.
Ovation.
By the way.
She co-founded,
so I speak to a gazillion meeting planners a week, and they are dealing with the line situation, not specifically Comic-Con, but big conferences of people that will suck up to one table. So it's the human behavior is the same at all the different events. And what's really coming, and hopefully not knowing who plans Comic-Con and these other events you guys are talking about, is that they're going to start to entertain this idea of a hybrid event. So that is there a possibility that we've got a really robust in-person experience that's safe and not everybody's getting like the plague breathing on each other, and also a robust, easily accessible for everybody digital experience. So because think of and I don't know what's happened so much in your world in the past year, but on like the corporate side of stuff, because they've opened up conferences virtually, their attendance boomed because finally people that have never been able to travel either because geographically because of geography, or if they're people that can physically not get there, if their body is not able to get there because of some sort of physical thing, that they're finally able to attend and participate. And I think that would be really cool for Comic-Con too.
I wrote an article about the Superfan Mall that they're going to launch with LA Comic-Con, and they're trying to do exactly that. It's supposed to be a parallel virtual experience that anyone can access through a browser, and you can, if you have a VR helmet, you can do that too. But it's like It's like Artist Alley, and they have different tables that you can virtually explore like you're on Google Streets and checking each one. And then at just this past weekend, Green Apple VR launched, where you could go visit their virtual reality Green Apple comic shop in Hollywood, which was exactly like actually going to visit their
Golden Apple.
Yeah. And it was super cool. It was really interesting to see.
I'm so bummed I didn't get to do that. I love that shop is my home away from home back in the 80s when I lived in LA. That was
So wait, does that virtual shop like live update with their stock?
So over the course of WonderCon, I kept visiting and I saw that they were like real time, like the Spider-Man statue started inside the virtual shop and they moved it out to the street over the course. So I think they really just had launched it and they're developing it as they go, because you could see details like being added over the course of the 2 days they had it live for WonderCon. And according to the press release that they sent with it, they want it to be 24/7 eventually, where you can like literally go into the virtual comic shop and shop.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, I will say, I Carrie, you're 100% correct. Like for all these meetings, and I go to 13, 15 events a year. So for me to spend a whole year at home, you'd think I've gotten more done here, but I haven't. But the hybrid event absolutely is going to be the way forward. But I just. And for all the reasons you mentioned, people get to go, and we've all done virtual panels that again with people. There's just a thirst for in-person experiences, and
of course,
for sure.
That will, but not enough to give up your first Thanksgiving with your family.
Yeah.
Or your 10th.
Yes.
Yes, of the year. That's right.
Yes,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, I need to start cooking a bird a week. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that is the year of a year of Thanksgivings.
Yeah.
That could be our next podcast.
Yeah. So I've got a question for.
Oh wait, well, we didn't hear what Rick got. Ricky.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Ricky.
Yeah, we never heard what got Ricky. What was your pleasures? Your guilty or not? That your what was your MVP?
Got you through the year. Yeah.
What got me through the year?
Yeah.
Well, initially it was Fringe. So I started watching
Fringe,
nice,
which is pretty amazing.
Love it.
I hadn't seen it, and now I'm a Fringe fanboy.
Good. Yeah.
And so I also revisited a lot of wrestling stuff, and I fell into the trap of watching Tiger King, and then I said never again. So I didn't.
I refuse to, and I'm fine with it.
So, but
I feel like Tiger King is a thing that everyone watched at the beginning, and then everyone immediately regretted. I know. Well done, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I held out.
But I will say that the other thing that when things were dire, it was two things: the Great British Baking Show and Nailed It. No, not Nailed It. Chopped.
Nice.
Those two. But
awesome.
Great British Baking Show is like the vaccine for anything that's not COVID. You know,
my
like
friend
it
was
won't
a
cure you of
finalist on
COVID,
that. Yeah.
but it will cure you of any other emotional ill you have. It's so
Yeah,
so
I'm not I
peaceful.
cook all the time, but I'm not a baker, and I'm slowly trying it. But my friend was a finalist a few years ago on it, so she's been encouraging me, like trying to get like, try these are easy ones, try this recipe, try that. I'm like, yeah, because the stuff they do is like insane. You're like,
Yeah,
holy cow.
for me, the unsung hero of COVID for me was Paul Hollywood. So
nice.
So that whenever things go bad, Paul Hollywood.
Oh, what about Mary Berry? She's so sweet.
I know they're all
awesome.
great. I love that.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So that's what gave me life.
Excellent. So for the podcast, it sort of became this thing of watching films a lot the past year, and Heidi and I sort of, didn't really. It just sort of happened. We're like, oh, you haven't seen this, I haven't seen this. It started sort of like, hey, let's watch this. So there's plenty of stuff she had never seen, plenty of stuff I had never seen. So out of the stuff you had never seen that I turned you on to and made you watch, what was your favorite? And then of course the same question for me.
Okay.
Like for me, obviously the very first one, Evil Dead, I'd never seen, and that was my own sort of choosing though. Was great. Then also I'd maybe seen an episode, but I'd never seen all of Garth Marenghi, and was so delighted when I watched it all, went through back, and I was like, this is fantastic. So thank you for reminding me to check that out and finishing that. But how about for you? What was like some
well, I think it was that I'd never no, that's not true. I have seen several Miyazaki films, but I'd never seen my friend
Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro, and it's a masterpiece. It's one of the great movies. And so, watching that, obviously, I should totally work through the rest of my Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
And you know what? Along the same lines, I had never seen the show, talking about what we were just talking about, the show Con Man, which is it's on. You actually have to buy it now on Amazon, but it's like $5. But I bought that. Stars Alan Tudyk.
Yeah.
It's great.
I've seen most of it. Yeah, it's
really
great.
Alex, Joe, Avery, have you seen Con Man?
No.
And Carrie, you'd like it too, because it's like, if you do conferences, it's about this, it's especially germane to our world, but it's about, one of these nerd celebrities that I call them, who does cons for a living, because he was on this one, science fiction show once, and just his world. And, I've always said, why don't they do a show about cons? This is the show. I mean, it nails it. It is so good. It's like, if you have to buy it on Amazon, but it's like $5 a season. So it's like $10 or something. And it's highest recommendation, highest.
Yeah, I remember when they were kickstarting this and started out him and because Nathan Fillion's involved.
And he's super talented.
Tudyk is amazing. Tudyk is one of the most unsung actors out there. He's a classically trained actor. I think he went to Juilliard, and he is he stars in Resident Alien, that new sci-fi show. He's brilliant in it. And when I interviewed him about it, and I was just curious I'm always curious of acting process, because I'm a former actor. I'm like, so what did you discover? Because he has a very quirky delivery and everything he does as this alien character in Resident Alien. I go, so how did you approach his character? Because, well, I got a hold of a clown coach and started learning clowning. I'm like, that is fucking brilliant. Are you serious? Like, he is so researched and so well done. He does great voices, of course, great voiceover actor. He is a brilliant actor.
But he also, for Con Man, he wrote most of it and directed a lot of it. And
it's his idea.
It's his show. I mean, it's just really, it's like all these other sitcoms that you watch that I'm just like, I just can't get sucked into it. But then I watch an episode and I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. And then I never return to it. But it's just that kind of really well-rounded and quirky and smart humor, except it's about Comic-Con. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's great.
This is for everybody. So there's a lot of like series finales or just season finales throughout the last year too. What was maybe your favorite, or maybe you were disappointed in? And I'll start off with my disappointment. My biggest disappointment was The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. What a terrible ending. If you saw it, it sort of romanticized suicide in a sense. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? I was so furious, because I really enjoyed the series, and it was like, oh man, that's really where you went. I guess that they had to wrap, but like, you could have wrapped it up differently. But yeah, it was really upsetting. But anyone else have like a good or bad experience with like their favorite series finale or season finale?
Oh my God.
My favorite finale was the end of the Trump presidency.
Yeah,
a big fan. of how that wrapped up.
Yes.
But it was like Lord of the Rings.
I don't know if I was
ending
a big
after
fan
ending
of it,
after
but I'm glad that it ended.
It could have gone a lot worse, Alex.
Yeah,
that's true. We could be in the
true.
sequel.
I watched. I think it was in 2020. I finished up Arrow.
Yeah, nice.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, I was prepared to be disappointed because I've been disappointed with so many things at the end, like Jimmy's and my marriage, and so, but I'd seen an interview with what's his bucket at like before, and he was
Stephen
like, "Oh,
Amell?
it's gonna be Arrow guy."
Stephen
And
Amell.
okay, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, there's going to be such a great payoff at the end." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to get like I don't want to know." And I felt good about it.
Good.
I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm good." It was a nice like bow at the end.
Yeah, it was a little bow. It was nice. It wasn't. I didn't love it, but I liked it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice bow pun. I like that.
Yeah. There you go. Nice
bow.
bow. Yes, nice bow.
But I did. Yeah, I agree. I thought the Arrow was a show that I was very hot and cold on. Over its run, and after Oliver died during Crisis, spoilers, I was very curious how they were going to wrap it all up with a finale that he was not sort of in, and I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, for sure, excellent.
A season finale that I really liked is What We Do in the Shadows, because that started airing I think April of last year, so it was really like one of the first shows that was on in the pandemic. And I remember the first week we watched it, the commercial, there was only 2 commercials. It was like Burger King and like insurance. And it was so weird and bizarre. And the whole season is the Vampire Slayer going to come out? And then in the season finale, there's like a 10-minute freaking slay fest. And it was just such great catharsis, especially at that time period where you could like hear the foundations of society creeping to just have the finally get his.
You know, that's such a great, that's another thing I remember about the early days, nostalgia, but the weird ads, because they had to, they couldn't film new ads. And so they had all this like, what do you call it? Like stock footage that they had. It's like, now more than ever, you're worried about your family. And
in these trying times.
Challenging times.
We're here for you.
Yes.
In the new normal.
We're all together.
We're all getting used to the new normal.
Right.
Yep.
Totally.
And it's been unprecedented that we're moving forward.
Oh God. So good.
On the business side,
I see that Joe Namath one more time. I'm like, oh God.
And on the business side of things, everyone's like, "Oh, all right, how's your pivot? Are you pivoting?"
Oh God. My pivot is my foot in your ass. How's that? Stop saying pivot.
Exactly.
Quite a pivot.
A couple of positive finales for me were Steven Universe, of course, fantastic series, and The Good Place had a great series finale as well.
Was
like,
The Good Place was that last year? Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Good Place was last year. Yeah. That cow.
I did finish. I think it arrived in Netflix during the pandemic, but I don't know if it actually ended during the pandemic when it was being shown on USA. But I saw The Sinner with Bill Pullman, and that's an amazing show. And the 3rd season, it was amazing, but I remember just staring into the wall, like thinking, man.
That is some dark stuff, and I loved it. And you are right. I like needed to be left alone for like half a day. Like that just sits with you.
Yep, it sits with you for a while. And I think the next show I saw was WandaVision after that. So that was kind of like it was a good transition because the first few episodes are kind of wacky. So I'm like, okay, this is good. But I agree with Avery. Some of the best things in television last year was What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
So good.
I, again, barely watch TV, but of course I had to watch The Mandalorian and WandaVision. But I'll give my shout out to WandaVision because I felt that the last 2 episodes were so powerful. And, I never liked Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch in the films. Yeah, in the films, I just thought she was weird and quirky and they didn't, it's like they say, it's like, like he's fast and she's weird, like they didn't give her due at all. And this show really, I mean, she's such a good actress. She's such a good actor. I had no idea. Right. And but just the framing of her pain and her suffering and, like when that scene where they, spoilers, where she looks at the deed from the vision of the
She goes to the
land.
house.
Woo.
Empty plot of
Oh.
land.
Oh, the
Yeah.
empty plot of land. Yeah. But then she comes through as, anyway, I thought it was super well done. And interestingly, I do not get up in the morning and watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier like I did WandaVision, because I didn't want WandaVision to be spoiled. So every Friday I would get up, make breakfast, watch it, get ready to do this. And then this morning I actually overslept, and then I was like, I see Zemo's trending, so I guess Zemo's in it. And I'm like,
well, that's the thing. It's like,
Yeah.
like I found The Mandalorian and WandaVision both like I have to watch it that day. With Falcon Winter Soldier, I'm like, I'll watch it later.
Yeah, it's a fun, it's good.
Fine.
It's good.
I almost feel like Invincible, the new cartoon, is more. It's on Fridays too. I'm like, I want to see that first instead.
I kind of feel
it's
the same
so
way.
good. It's so good.
It
Yeah, you
is.
guys haven't watched Invincible?
Yeah, Invincible. Has anybody seen Invincible?
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. But
It's
it's comics, so
good.
yeah, it's real
Yeah,
good.
they
sure.
bribed me to watch it with food, and because
Oh.
obviously I don't want to watch TV, but I watched it. I was like, I'm hooked. I'm in.
Yeah, for sure. So for the last year we covered a lot. What was like your favorite, Heidi, and then anyone else that maybe join us? What was your favorite thing we covered, like maybe movie wise? Like I'll just again real quick. I have quite a few there. I loved covering Flash Gordon, one of my favorite films. I think Shaun of the Dead was great. We had that great BBC journalist with us, Samir Ahmed. Train to Busan. Of course, Jesus Christ Superstar, It's a Wonderful Life, things like that. But yeah, lots of favorite stuff. It was fun to chat about that I don't normally get to chat about with people, because I'm like, hey guys, want to talk It's a Wonderful Life? No, nobody. Great, okay, fine. Heidi, what about you?
Well, I will say our Jesus Christ Superstar episode it's our longest episode. And by the way, it's up again. They took it down for some copyright claims, but it's up again. I disputed it with Google.
We kept singing it too much.
Yeah, we sang too much, and so that was. But just will the robbers please me? Well, no, this isn't the Jesus Christ Superstar episode.
No, we can't do it.
Jimmy and I will break into Jesus Christ
Yes,
Superstar at any given moment. Okay, so obviously we're my favorite. Garth Marenghi, which you mentioned. But I gotta say, Joe and Avery, I think that moment when we decided that the Star Wars holiday special was better than the new one. I think that might have been the most powerful moment.
I think my Wi-Fi is going out again. Oh no! I think. Oh God!
I think that might have been the most powerful moment of this entire year.
Yeah, it was such a strange experience because it was really like I was genuinely surprised. You can go back and watch the video. Watch me be genuinely surprised as I grapple with the fact that I actually enjoy the Star Wars holiday special. So
yeah, I think I went on a similar journey over the course of that discussion. Yeah,
I did not.
That was so much fun.
I was like, I think I'm good. It's a nostalgic thing, but I'm like, I can do without.
Yeah,
I'd rather see B. Arthur spin-off with her in the bar. So yeah,
I would be on board with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Disney Plus, come on, give it to me. Give us what we want.
Oh wait,
Harvey Korman is like the norm.
That little guy, the little mechanic dude.
Lumpy? Oh no, not Lumpy the son. Oh yeah.
What's his name?
Art Carney?
No. Episode, yeah.
Are you talking about Babu Frick? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah. See, I've already blocked it out, but for sure.
I will say that one of the best moments of given the circumstances, one of the best moments was getting the chance to talk Dark Side of the Ring here, which was great. But I think the one I enjoyed the most was They Live discussion. That was amazing.
Two things I wasn't that into. Wrestling I used to be, but it did have old wrestlers I knew. And also They Live I had never seen. So that was really fun. I agree.
They Live is amazing. And I think the only other time I tried to talk They Live with someone, the other person either fell asleep or was so drunk that just faded into another plane of existence.
Me every year. It's a Wonderful Life. You guys haven't seen. You got to watch it. It's the best movie in the world.
I agree. I do think They Live is super it's timeless. I
liked it. I'd never seen it. I liked it. I don't think I need to go back and see it anymore, but I liked it, and I had a good time discussing it. But yeah, I think maybe had I seen it back then, I'd probably have more of a nostalgic feeling to it. But I never did. So, but it was enjoyable. It was fun. It was silly,
But that's an interesting point. If you're not nostalgic for something. I saw The Goonies very late in life, and I don't really care for it. And that some people would say that some people would say that what I just said would, get me a trip straight to hell. But, but my movie growing up was Monster Squad for example. So a lot of people have that nostalgia for it, but it's not even close to the level of nostalgia that people have for the Goonies.
Yeah.
So the Goonies you either watch when you're younger or you just see and it's like, it's a movie I saw.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I hear you. Like we talked about it recently with like the Popeye film. I'm like, I didn't really have the great memories it had. I remember liking it as a kid. I didn't really love it this time around, but then Heidi did. She like, both Heidi and Aaron, I think, were like, this is great.
I definitely have a new respect for Popeye. I think it soared in my estimation on a rewatch.
But I totally get that though. I totally get that for sure. Another thing I started doing early on in when we did movies, I started recasting them. And started because as a former actor and being of Asian descent, Hollywood's still very white. So I started recasting the films, mostly ethnic, usually all Asian actors, and it's become mostly just all Asian cast now I do. And it's really fun because there are amazing talent of Asian actors out there that aren't being used. So I was like, well, I'm gonna fucking cast them then. And this is what this movie would look like. It was a modern day remake because I have a ton of friends that are actors, a ton of Asian actor friends. There's a lot of great ones out there, and I like to see more of that. So that's another reason, because representation matters, and so that's another reason I started doing that, was just because it's fun, but also it matters. So you need to have like representation. So
and that was great.
More of that.
And more of that, and just from my standpoint, it's like your casting is so good. I mean, you're really good at it, but it does, recontextualizes things in a way that I think it's very important and thought-provoking. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we used to do, there's always been things of like, back when I did Shakespeare, you'd always find a production. There was an all Japanese production set in, the feudal, period of King Lear. You're like, that's amazing, things like that, to see certain things like that. So I think seeing, It's a Wonderful Life with an all Asian cast and casting Henry Golding as a James Stewart character was brilliant. So, it's like, absolutely. So let's do it. Why not?
Well, I did also, I loved our for 2021, we've started doing theme months, and I really enjoyed our martial arts month. We learned so much. And our musical month, Carrie, you joined in on that
for a couple of those, former musical theater star, still performer. Yes,
I'm the only. Well, I have a secret musical background, but I mean, we're really able to deep dive on a lot of these things, and
and Aaron, who couldn't join us, is also a performer. Is she here yet?
No, she isn't. But we have a special guest star joining us for a moment. Speaking of.
Is it the ghost of Jimmy Stewart? No.
It is the ghost of Jimmy Stewart. It's Therese.
Oh, excellent.
Yay.
Yay. Hey,
Therese. Yay.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Your sound is off. Girl, you're on mute.
There we go.
There we go. Yay. Sorry, I just got done with an interview, so I was like, I'll see if I still have some time.
Yeah, pop on.
So good to see you. Thanks. We were just talking about.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. Therese is, want to introduce yourself just?
Yeah. I'm Therese Laxon. I'm the entertainment editor for The Beat and also the executive editor for Nerdophiles.
Yeah. So
excellent.
So we were just talking about things that we talked about on here that we really enjoyed, and how we survived the pandemic. But nothing. So if you have 5 minutes, if you can just sum it up. No.
Yeah, like what did you watch in the past year that really sort of got you through?
Oh my God, I have this in my head. What did I watch? I feel like, so I watched a lot of stuff already, so I didn't really add any more to that list. Mm-hmm. But I did do a lot of crazy audiobook reading. I just spent hours and hours.
Nice.
I just learned better through audio. So I'm just sitting there on my phone playing really dumb puzzle games and listening to audiobooks on 1.75 speed. And I got through a lot of books in the process.
Awesome.
A lot of them. So that was my big thing during quarantine. Somehow I got more into audiobooks, even though I did absolutely no commuting. So yeah.
I love auto bio audiobooks. It's like the person's telling you their own story. It's really fun. A lot of great comedian ones out there, for sure. Like Steve Martin, Tina Fey have some really great ones.
So I have a question for the panel, and this is my own obsession, but I know we have some foodies on there, some cooks on there, writers. So and it's just how do you take your coffee? Okay. Now Jimmy's always got his special coffee, but if you're a caffeine addict like I am, it's a very serious matter. And I am such a caffeine addict that when I had wrist surgery a couple years ago, and when you go in for surgery, you can't eat or drink for you're supposed to stop at midnight the next night. Now, if your surgery's in the morning, not bad, but my surgery got pushed back, so it wasn't until 3 o'clock. So I couldn't eat or drink anything till 3 o'clock, and then I woke up, of course, in horrible pain. But no caffeine. And let me tell you, I was getting a headache, and when I come to, and they're like, "Oh, I'm in pain," they're like, give me some, morphine or whatever. The headache did not go away. That's how much the caffeine addict was bad. And then when they wheeled me out, I was like, "Give me a Diet Coke." Oh, thank God. It was the greatest moment of my life, drinking that. So anyway, yes, I take my caffeine very seriously. I use an AeroPress for homemade coffee. I've used the inversion method. And it's a little time consuming, but I have it down to a science. Gives me a very strong cup that gets me going. When I don't do that, I like the La Colombe triple shot espresso in a can. So that's me.
Nice.
Anyone else with coffee, important coffee?
Well, as you saw, most of the first started out making Dalgona coffee a ton. When we first started, I love making it, and I also would make variations of it, making the matcha one or the regular one. But then I've lately just been buying like different canned ones from H Mart, different Korean coffees, and adding the Korean banana milk to it, which is the best ever. It's so good in coffee, banana milk. It's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of what I did today. I had a Korean coffee with some banana milk in it. So yeah.
So I'm gonna try that.
I get coffee sent from Puerto Rico
nice.
up here, which is pretty great. There's a Puerto Rican rock star that has his own coffee now that's pretty great. And
nice.
Me and my brother have been trying to taste different types of coffees and other drinks that like musicians and stuff do. So we've had Slipknot whiskey and Metallica whiskey.
Sure.
And they're real.
Try those, dude. Hell yeah.
And we've mixed them into our coffees as well to make what is it called? Irish coffee?
Yeah.
Was it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Irish
What's
coffee.
the
I put
Puerto
whiskey
Rican
in my
Rockstar
Dalgona for
brand?
sure. Yeah.
Sorry.
What's the Puerto Rican Rockstar band?
You can find it. It's a rock star period. He's called Draco. Draco, and he has.
I've heard of that guy. Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty good. He grows it in Puerto Rico and everything. But Draco, who sings kind of like Ricky Martin-ish songs, but more rock, has good collaborations with Metallica.
I'd love to hear a rock version of La Vida Loca.
At least in terms of whiskey and coffee. In real life, they wouldn't really get so well together.
Draco Rosa, yeah.
Whatever the coffee,
Draco
so I
Rosa.
like it. I like it strong. Like it, I cannot take wimpy coffee, and
Yeah.
I like it's got to be. It's like balls to the wall strong, and I take a variety of things in it. I like to. I don't just have one way. Sometimes it's black. Sometimes it's like a coconut milk creamer. Last week I tried some sort of keto creamer with I'm not keto, but like some sort of collagen thing. I don't know. I'm looking.
You look amazing. Great.
Thank you. Yeah. So the most important thing is it's got to be hot. Like I want it hot or iced. I don't want anything in between, right? We want hot or iced. So I have this mug. I don't know if you can see it. It's called an Ember. And
oh my God. Yeah, those are real nice.
Yes. And it's electric. So it heats the coffee. So I can, I sync it up with my phone via Bluetooth. And I pick the temperature that I want it, which by the way is 135, is a nice piping hot cup of coffee. And so it goes in and my phone will tell me when my coffee is at the preferred temperature.
All right, buy me one for my birthday. Thank you.
Holy crap.
I totally will. You
Excellent.
would like this? I totally will. Done.
Excellent. Or whatever the next holiday, whatever it is, Flag Day. I don't know.
What about anybody? Who else is exacting about their coffee?
I have been brewing my own cold brew for a year.
Oh.
So I bought a OXO sort of cold brew filter blender. At the beginning of the
Damn,
pandemic, I set it up. I've been buying different flavors of beans from local coffee shops ever since then. At the beginning of the pandemic, Stumptown and stuff were doing free shipping and stuff like that. So I was just ordering a lot from them, but then I sort of branched out. I moved neighborhood. I started buying different beans, and I've just been playing with like roasts and flavor types ever since then. And I love the ability to just sort of like brew this big batch for the week, throw it in the fridge, and then every morning I just get to pop some ice cubes in there, pop some concentrate in, and add some water, and we're good to go.
Nice.
I like that.
So I just do the basic Mr. Coffee every day, which I then destroy personally in a disgusting manner. But I'm very much about my mug. So here's my USS Cerritos mug, property of USS Cerritos. Here's a crazy cat lady mug. I don't know if you can see it there. It's got a little cat. And my tailspin mug. So it's pretty basic coffee, but I like my mugs.
You have like all of what do you have? What does your desk look like? Just like you have like a billion things to tell.
I stage beforehand here. It's like I've got the mugs underneath the ring light and stuff, and like if a cat walks through here, it's gonna be a mess.
We know who we want on our doomsday prep team. Avery.
Yes. What about Therese and Joe? Do you have coffee rituals? Are you coffee drinkers?
I think I'm probably like maybe the only person who's not a crazy coffee drinker. I used to be really intense about it, but I realized that especially in the morning, I get like really bad like tension in the back of my neck when I have coffee.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah, it just makes me feel terrible, and I'm like, I don't want to live like this anymore. So
good for you.
I'm like an afternoon coffee drinker, which probably speaks to the fact that I have like a crazy sleep schedule. But you know, I just like a nice like iced cold brew. I love those, but in the morning I'm like I really like tea, so I'll drink like matcha tea, or I'll just drink like a really like strong black tea.
My favorite too.
That like calms me down a little bit more, so that's more my morning thing. And I don't like drinking cold things in the morning because my parents have like told me that drinking cold things in the morning is not good for you, and I think that's just like my body has like learned that now. So I guess
probably wise words, I'm sure.
yeah, there's some kind of like Asian logic behind it. Like the whole like don't drink cold things ever in your life because it'll just destroy you. But I can't resist a cold drink at some point. Right? Just not in the morning.
Yeah. Got it. Joe?
I drink fairly basic coffee. I just drink a couple cups in the morning. I drink the Dunkin' Donuts hazelnut flavored coffee.
Nice.
Dunkin' Donuts is my favorite coffee in general, which is I feel like to some people kind of scandalous. We don't have Dunkin' Donuts is not a West Coast thing, which makes me very sad. So I just have to make do with the grocery store version. I'm not super fancy.
Oh, wow.
What I do also recommend is like I'll also make ice cubes out of the banana milk. And put those in and then just pour the coffee over it, or you can do that with a creamer if you want of some sort, I'm sure as well.
You know, I went to Big Lots and they had the giant ice cube trays, you know, that makes the big
I've had those for you.
I've had those for years. For cocktails, but you can use it for anything. Soup, bouillon, stock, banana milk, coffee, whatever. I mean, it takes a while. Go sneeze. Woo! Got excited.
Loves her ice cube trays.
I love my ice cube trays. So but it's just it's been because I have a refrigerator now, but that's the biggest change in my life. So I got a full size refrigerator during pandemic, and it's okay.
Nice. So great. So great.
Joe, there's a pretty good Walking Dead whiskey that goes pretty good with coffee.
Okay.
Nice. Oh I saw. I don't think I tried the head of the Comic-Con one year, and I was supposed to go to a tasting thing, and I ended up not going. But I heard it was pretty good.
Well, I'll say this. Walking Dead also had a line of wines, and they were on sale at my local liquor store for like $4 a bottle. And as I say, wine has been, especially in the early pandemic. So me and my neighbor, we both don't like horrible wine, and you know what? The Walking Dead stuff is good. I mean, it literally is like quite drinkable. I mean, we bought like tons of bottles of it. There was some real Walking Dead shit going on here.
This is what I tell people. Like, Nice. I've worked in the wine business for 20 plus years. I know my wines very well. I'm not a sommelier, but I know wines very well. But I always tell you, you do not need a fancy bottle of wine. You can go to the store, get anything between $15 and $30. You will find amazing wines. Don't buy your local bodega wine. That is crap. It's like, but then again, you like what you like. I know some friends are like, that's fine for me. Great.
Well, also
but,
when you have
can find cheap bottles of wine that are amazing.
Yeah. Well, when you also like celebrity wines like a Walking Dead, they contract with a winery.
Sure.
That's probably a pretty good winery. And so,
absolutely,
it's not like Daryl and Michonne went and were stomping the grapes themselves.
I mean, they might be great. Who knows? But
that doesn't sound like a natural partnership to me. Like it sounds a little bit weirder than like Game of Thrones having bottles of alcohol devoted to them.
Which they do, yeah.
Right. But I mean, hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah. Yeah, my Flintstones wine is the best. No, but
I was gonna say, has anybody in The Walking Dead actually been seen drinking wine, like even throughout like the 15 seasons of their show?
There's gotta be the show is like full of it, right?
In the spin-off Fear the Walking Dead, early episodes, the sort of like very educated, very like sort of fancy guy character. They find this really rich house, and he's like, this is a fine bottle, blah blah blah. And he's drinking like that, so I'm like, right on, got a little wine love there. Excellent.
Awesome.
There you go. Real quick before we go, one of my best friends, John Hosch, who was a big part of this Zoomcast when we first started, but now is in school and working, so he hasn't been able to participate in a while. He did send a quick little video message, if I can share.
So glad. Yes, I've got you sharing. Yes. You should be able to share.
All right. Nice. Let me just make sure I share everything here. All right. There we go. And here is John.
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Heidi.
Can you hear him?
I just wanted to send you guys a huge congratulations on this anniversary of Comics Beat Insider coming into the zeitgeist, the world of pop culture and all those wonderful things. What a wonderful thing to do during this time when we cannot be together. But to kind of meet online and talk about things that make us happy and inform people who might not know about certain things. I've had a wonderful time contributing to the episodes over this year. And I just wanted to congratulate you guys. I think it's really fun and really cool and really exciting what you guys are doing. I hope you continue doing it. For as long as you want to.
Nice.
And when I've been on, I can tell that you guys enjoy it, so that's really great. And again, just congratulations. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it, and thank you for doing it. And I wish you guys all the best and many more episodes to come.
Awesome. Thanks, John. That's great.
Nice.
Yeah, he's the best. So John's one of my best friends. He's an actor in New York City. He was in the King Kong Broadway show. He actually voiced Kong. He did all the sounds for it. He was one of the puppeteers as well. But he's been in award-winning shows, both off-Broadway and on-Broadway as well. Voiceover actor, stunt guy, fighter, etc. So, but also a giant nerd. So that's why we love him for many things. He's the best. But he couldn't join us today because he's working and he has class later. So
and John was a big part of how we launched this, and really contributed. And we miss him, but we gotta like I think that's the one thing. Like when we started this, we had all the time in the world, and now it's like, oh my God, it's 1:30.
Yeah, I've actually got to go to class to go to work.
Yeah, you got to go to work. So all right, so real quick, what's up next? And I have a lot of beat staffers here, so don't talk about the beat. All right, what else is exciting? What's coming up next for everybody? Avery, or what's your exciting thing for 2021, or what's coming up next?
So I'll tell. I'm writing an article on this weekend for Neotext, so you can look forward to another article from me soon, and that's pretty much what's on my mind right now.
Alex,
I've got 1.5 billion titles coming out, edited by me from first second over the next couple of years, which is basically what my entire life has been focused on. But my graphic novel, Goodbye to All of You, should come out either next year or 2023. And there will be more things down the pipeline.
And by the way, Alex, a little shout out. One of the books you edited was Dragon Hoops by Jean Lewin Yang.
Like
best books
won
of that
all
year.
the awards.
Deservedly so.
I don't imagine editing Jean was all that hard, but congrats on that.
No, Gina's was a pleasure to work with, and honestly, it was just an honor to be able to work with him.
He's the best. Oh my
I will throw a shout out to a newer book though that I just had come out called Blueberry and Pancakes by Dan and Jason. This is adorable. It's about 3 friends. 2 of them decided to play keep away with a third friend's beach ball. It's done in this beautiful sort of like painterly art style, all on iPad, Procreate.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic.
Excellent. Excellent. Carrie?
So I have not been on an airplane in over a year, and I thought it was a good sign that I did book my first in-person speaking engagement at a conference in October of this year. So I think something is coming that's different than what's been happening. So in October, I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska.
Excellent. And by then you'll have had 10 more Thanksgivings. Nice. All right.
Yes.
For those that missed, Carrie's done 10 or 11 Thanksgivings this year alone. So yeah.
Monthly Thanksgiving.
Yes.
The 4th Thursday of every month.
That's right.
It's Thanksgiving at Carrie's
Nice.
house.
Amazing. Joe?
I have nothing that's not beat stuff.
All right. Wait, Joe, do you have a pupper?
We have a foster dog right now. Yeah, we've been fostering dogs off and on for the past year. We unfortunately lost both of our normal dogs before the pandemic, and then shortly after the pandemic started. So yeah, we've had a string of foster dogs, which has been very nice.
Do you think one might stick?
If one was going to stick, the one that we have right now is probably the biggest contender.
Wait, they're not in the room right now where they could hear you. Like,
no.
Okay.
He's in
they
another
understand
room.
you. He's like,
but I think we're gonna hold off for a little while because as things start to open up, I know there's traveling and stuff that we want to do. So not having a dog would make that easier.
All right. Right on. Ricky?
I have around October as well, maybe a conference with the National Archives, which I work with as well. And trying to make something with comics as a primary source with them. And also hopefully getting a webcomic out about a guy that's stuck in an anthology. So
excellent.
Those 2 things for the moment are what's keeping me alive and hopefully not giving me enough stress to lose my hair, because if that happens, I'll just quit everything I'm doing.
Priority.
Your hair is gorgeous, Ricky. Nice. I totally understand.
Excellent. Therese?
Thank you, Joe.
So mostly I think in the short term, so mostly for April, I'm like focusing on, I'm sorry, it is going to be beat related, but the upcoming Shadow and Bone show. I've been like obsessed with it. I binged the entire show, been reading the books. That's like basically my life right now. Everything's getting marked down. I'm a crazy English major person, so I'm like highlighting things and writing notes and putting sticky notes on things. So yeah, that's my life right now, and I don't know what it will be like after April. Like what will I have at that point? Well, Loki. So
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
the Marvel train never ends.
Disney Plus really has us covered, man.
And Bad Batch.
Oh yeah, Bad Batch for sure.
Yeah.
And What If then after that?
Oh, What If?
So much.
So many things.
Oh, What If?
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if anybody read my piece on The New Gods by Ava DuVernay getting canceled. But my last line was, we should never have thought that Ava DuVernay and Tom King could have made a film based on Jack Kirby's most delirious creation. That just wasn't realistic. Of course, Marvel is putting out a movie based on Jack Kirby's even more delirious creation coming in November.
Yeah, there you go. But let's give $70 million to a white guy to finish his film. Sure. Anyway, for me, continuing doing not just this, but Comic News Insider, my regular podcast. What has been good about Zoom is that I've been able to do more interviews and just sort of specials. I've been doing a lot of TV and film specials with friends where we just sort of break down when the TV series ends, we talk about it. And then I've got an interview lined up next week with my friend and showrunner of Resident Alien, Chris Sheridan. And just got more of those. I got a bunch of creator interviews coming up and more specials. And I'm working full time again. So there's that. And looking forward to traveling and at some point as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much focused on I'm getting my second shot at the end of April. And then in 2 weeks, I can go visit my family in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the most important thing right now.
Cool.
So
yeah,
that's
for sure.
what I'm really looking forward to.
Do not throw away your shot, like Hamilton said.
I'm not going to throw it away. And go into a baseball game.
There's a great remix album on YouTube that combines Space Jam with Hamilton.
Oh my God. Oh, I have to find that. That's amazing.
That's exciting.
Yeah, everybody's afternoon sorted right there.
That's
yeah,
right.
there we go. Yeah, well,
now.
listen, Jimmy's got to go to work. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate all of you stopping by. Thank you so much for contributing to Comic Beat Insider over the past
please come
year.
back.
And come back. Yeah, we gotta have you all back. I mean, it's just so much fun hanging out and talking with you guys on a Friday afternoon, always. So
you should do Lost.
Yeah, if you have any ideas, send them to us.
Happy to be
here.
Lost,
for sure. Oh, that'd be
a
deep dive. That'd be a long episode.
Well,
maybe I could get my friend who was on it to join us.
Oh my gosh!
Oh, maybe
maybe
you know someone who was
I've
on
got
it.
the poster.
I wonder.
Yeah, maybe one of my oldest friends is on
Well,
it.
we've talked about that episode. We should definitely make that. Maybe talk about it. So.
All right, we'll see.
All right, so everybody. Let's go around. Just say who you are and where we can find you online. Avery.
I'm Avery Kaplan, and you can find me on Comics Beat or at Avery Kaplan6 on Twitter.
Alex.
I am at Wax and Wings, WAXENWININGS on all social media platforms.
Gary.
You can find me on the Facebook. You can find me on the LinkedIn. It's a little more business centric, but or find pictures of me at Jimmy's apartment.
Hey, settle down. Joe?
You can also find me at Comics Beat and on Twitter and Instagram and everywhere as at Joe Grunenwald. That's JoeGrunenwald.
That's so much more professional.
Ricky?
Ricky Serrano. You can find me at The Beat as well, and Ricky87PR on Twitter. And I don't use a lot of social media, but I'll make time if you try to contact me because I'm always looking out for friends.
Excellent. And Therese?
So I'm Therese Laxon. You can find me on Twitter at Bamfpire, BAMFPIRE.
Such a great name. I love that.
That's really good.
I don't think I can ever escape it now. It's also like my Reddit name, so I had to get a new Reddit because I was like, I don't want people to track me down for the comments. Not bad ones, but just hot takes, I'm all about the hot takes. Anyways, you can find me there.
Awesome. And I'm Heidi McDonald at The Beat, comicsbeat.com with all these other amazing people. And on all social media, I'm Comixace, COMIXACE.
Yeah, and I'm Jimmy Aquino of Comic News Insider at comicnewsinsider.com, the weekly podcast since 2005, covering comics, TV, film, and pop culture. You can find me on the socials just at Jimmy Aquino, JIMMYAQUINO, and at Carrie's for the next Thanksgiving.
Which is
tomorrow?
next Thursday.
Oh, great, I'll be there. Yeah, I'm on my way. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you again. Everybody stay safe out
Thank
there.
you.
Thank you.
Get vaccinated.
Bye.
Wear a mask. Bye.